Right, this is it. Week 19. Everything you've been working towards for the last 2 years is about to come to fruition. Let's go. So, slightly different video today because I want to make sure that we focus on translation from Spanish to English, which is question 10 in your reading and listening paper. So, we're going to look at the key vocab for the world of work, then we're going to do a guided translation together, and then you're going to do one on your own. Okay, so this is the vocab for this week. As always, pause the video, see how many you can translate into English, and come back when you're ready for the answers. Vale, las respuestas. Al extranjero, abroad. Aprendizaje, apprenticeship, can also be learning, depending on the context. Mal pagado, badly paid. Cajero, cashier. Caridad, charity. Funcionario, civil servant. Descanso, break. Colega, colleague. Informática, computer science or IT. Licenciatura, a degree. Diseñador, designer. Sueño, dream. Empresario is an employer. Could also be businessman. Panadero, baker. Formulario, a form. Entrevista, job interview. Puesto de trabajo, a job or a post. Habilidades, skills. Solicitar un trabajo, to apply for a job. Formación, training. Estar en paro, to be unemployed. Prácticas laborales, work placement, work experience. Empresa, company or business. Negocio would be another word to add in here. Periodista, journalist. Sueldo, salary. Don't confuse with sueño. The two are very similar, but they have different meanings. Fontanero, plumber. Gerente, manager. Reunión, meeting. Tiempo parcial, part-time. Y anuncio, advertisement. So if you didn't know loads of those before, that's okay. They are pretty, I've condensed the list into the most uncommon words, the ones you're least likely to know. So if you didn't know them, don't worry. There is the Quizlet link that you can practice after you've watched this video to help you with those words if you need it. Otherwise, now we're moving on to the first. Okay, otherwise now we are moving on to the first translation. So this is the 2023 past paper translation, question 10 from the higher paper. There's loads of things that are really helpful here, tense-wise. So even if you're doing foundation, this is still going to be really helpful for you in terms of knowing what to look out for. So I've got some notes along the side, and we're kind of going to do this as we go, and I'm going to talk you through it, and then the next slide is another example with notes, but I'm not going to talk you through it, and you're going to do it yourself. So pay attention now so that you understand why these bits are highlighted, what they are telling you to look out for, etc., etc. So first bit, very straightforward. Voluntaria en Chile. We could work out, even if we didn't know soy as I am, we could work that out. So the first bit, I am a volunteer in Chile. That should be fine. Okay, if you've never heard of the country Chile before, it's got a capital C, so you know it's a place name, and when it's got a capital letter, you do not need to translate it. Well, actually, that's a lie. It depends on what it is. If it's a country that you obviously recognize, like Francia, España, then translate it. If it was a city name, you could keep it the same. If you're not sure and you have no idea what the translation is, just keep it the same, because if it's a proper noun, it might be okay to leave it. Okay, next step is por las mañanas. So mañana is a funny word because it can mean tomorrow and it can mean morning. And how do we know which one it is? So when you've got a plural, so when you've got the S on the end, or you've got the word una or la in front of it, then it's always morning. Mañana on its own is tomorrow with no the in front of it. So in this case, I know it's morning. So in the mornings. Then I have ayudo. I just know that this is going to be a verb because I've got a time phrase, and it makes sense that the next thing, if it's not a person, which it's not, we can see there's no reference to a person here, then it has to be a verb. There's no other way about it. So that's how I know now that because this ends in an O, it's a verb in the present tense. Okay, so time phrase, next word, has to be a verb. It ends in an O. It's a verb in the present tense. The reason it's important that I can identify that it's a verb is because colegio also ends in an O. Temprano down here also ends in an O. These are not verbs. Okay, so that's why it's important to be able to identify that because of the position in the sentence of this word, after the time phrase, it must be a verb. O, present tense. Ayudar means to help. So this is I help children in a school. There's vocab in there. Niños, colegio, we should recognize. Okay, next one. Esta is a tricky one. It's an important one that we know. Esta means this. But tense-wise, we could say this week I went, or this week I'm going to go. So it could be past or future, and I don't know until I look at the verb. Okay, unfortunately here, this verb is very difficult. I can put this as this week. And actually, it doesn't matter for esta, whether it's past or future. I know it's this. But the verb now, I do need to work out whether it's past or future. At least knowing that esta, I know it's one of those two. So I've narrowed it down a bit. And how I can narrow it down further now is knowing that there's no R here. If this was a future tense, there would be an R somewhere in this verb, tuve. Okay? Or there would be a boya plus infinitive. I see neither of these things, therefore it has to be past tense. Okay? And again, just a recap, I've arrived at that conclusion because this week has to be either past or future. If I'm looking for a future tense, I would see an R in my verb, or I would see boya plus the infinitive. Neither of those exist, so it's past tense. That's the first hurdle. Me tuve que is a very difficult phrase. I would not necessarily expect everyone to know this. Obviously, now you've done this video, you will know it. But let's say I'm in an exam and I don't have a clue what to do with this. The best strategy you can do then in a transition is go to the next word that you do know and see if you can work it out from there. So levantar and temprano, I'm hoping you will know these. We've done daily routine a while ago in these videos. Levantar means to get up. Temprano is early. Okay, so if I know to get up and early, and I know it's the past tense, I would probably make a guess at I got up early. Okay, the answer is actually I had to get up early. Tuve que is the past tense of tengo que being I have to. Tuve que, I had to. If I didn't know that, this is basically me showing you how do you get to this point of a sensible answer without knowing that. If I don't have a clue what tuve que is, I'm moving on to the word levantar. I hopefully know that that means to get up. I know I'm talking in the past tense, so if you wrote I got up early, that's not going to be a major error. Okay, so I would go with that. I'm just giving you the full version here. I had to get up early. Then the next bit, to prepare breakfast. Okay, preparar desayuno, words I know. Now I'm still left with this word para. Most of you will know that this means for. But that's quite difficult to put into this sentence. So I'm actually just going to ignore the para here. I can make sense of my sentence without translating this word. This week I had to get up early to prepare breakfast. Makes sense. And actually, para plus infinitive means in order to do something. So I don't need to translate the para because I've already got the to prepare. And that's another good strategy. If you can make sense of the sentence and there's a word that you've left out that you haven't translated, but the sentence makes sense, and you're not really sure what to do with that word it's left, just leave it out. Okay, then, although the work is, so I know the word aunque, el trabajo, those are all common vocabulary. And duro, hopefully I know, is another word for difícil, hard. Then I'm on to me siento alegre. Alegre, it's touch and go, hit and miss, whether you would know that this is happy. If you're somebody who's musical, you will know that because you know the markings on the sheet music will often refer to alegre as the tone in which it's supposed to be played. So we're just going to go with, we know the word alegre is happy. Me siento. I know siento is a verb because it's got the word me in front of it. Anytime you see the word me, the next word is a verb, period. So it's O, we saw earlier, it's present tense. Happy, I'm going to go with something, I am happy. Me siento is I feel. If I didn't know that, I've got happy, I know it's present tense. I am happy is fine. and to be here. Estar, I should know, estar is to be. Aquí is a very common word. If you didn't know it, make a note. It means here. Then we've got el año que viene voy a volver. So voy a plus infinitive is the future tense. I know that the word año means year. Que viene, we will get to this in a second, but it's one that comes up a lot because it's less obvious. So you do need to know it and make a note of it now once we go through the answers. El año que viene voy a volver. So I know it's something about year. I am going to return. So a sensible guess would be next year. And el año que viene is next, and you need to know that. So I'm going to return. Para trabajar, again, we've got the same to work. I don't need to translate my para here. Para plus infinitive, in order to work. En el mismo lugar. So the last part is, mismo is a very high frequency word, and we do just need to know it, unfortunately. Fortunately, it's come up here and we will learn it. It means the same. Okay, and so based on the rest of the sentence, I could work out the context. Next year, I'm going to return to work in the same, if I'm returning, same, lugar most likely means place, the same school, you might have guessed. But if you know that mismo is same and you know you're returning, you can make an educated guess there. Okay, so hopefully there you can see clearly how we identify verbs, how we identify time phrases, and what we do when there's words that we just don't know what to do with them, how we can use what we do know to make educated guesses. Right, so now it's your turn. I've given you the notes in colour. A lot of these are similar things that we've just discussed. I want you to pause the video now, have a go at doing the translation yourself, and then come back when you're ready for the answers. Okay, so here we go. So we've got present tense here. I work in a small company where I am a designer. Esta semana, again, we did past or present. We've got tuve, which hopefully you remember from the last time was I had, so it's past. This week, I had an important meeting with the boss, manager, to talk about work experience. So again, we had the para plus infinitive, in order to do something. I don't need the in order to, I can just use to do, so to talk. I could, if you wrote in order to talk about work experience, fine. Then, aunque el sueldo no es alto, me gusta porque. Although the salary isn't high, I like it because. There shouldn't be anything too difficult there. Tengo muchas habilidades y quiero hacer un curso. I have lots of skills and I want to do a course next year. So hopefully you've remembered el año que viene is next year. If you had forgotten, or there is a time phrase that you don't know, quiero is another one of those verbs that even though it's not in a tense, it implies a tense. And it implies that it's future. So that could have also helped you there. Finally, voy a plus infinitive, I am going to do something. I am going to apply for a part-time job in a charity organization. So there you have it. Hopefully you got on okay with that. And finally, just some top tips. Know your tense indicators. That is going to be really important. Check out my short on this so that you've got all the most difficult, most important indicators summarized in one video. Do the parts that you can and fill in the gaps with what makes sense. And you've seen some models, some examples of how you might do that, how you use what you know to make educated guesses in this video. And finally, always read the title of the question for context. If you know it's on work, then that's going to at least help focus your brain, center you on the topic, and it might give you that extra edge for making good guesses when there are words you don't know.